It's been a while. It's been a while since I've recorded from down here. So let's see how we're sounding. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Happy Monday, people. Yep. Okay, so audio is good. So yeah, happy Monday. We are live. We are not at the Alpha Esports and Technology Center. Having some had to deal with some issues. Um, life be lifing. Car issues, then not feeling the greatest on this holiday. Didn't get much sleep, but we're here. Welcome, and we are live. Like I said, you see the setup. This might look familiar to my regulars. That's because this is the setup for InfoSec Unplugged when we were ripping and running with that show. But as you can see, we are in the process of kind of revamping. Um, maybe, maybe aiming for a comeback. Who knows? We'll see. But happy Monday. Hope everybody had a great and restful weekend. I hope you were able to, um, you know, get whatever things you needed to get done. Um, Whatever it is, I hope you were great. I hope it worked out well for you. Actually, let me go ahead and yep. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get the party started. So we are on day 3 of Appsec Rabbit Hole, and I think I made a boo boo. I think I got overly excited, and I'll explain why. But before we go ahead and do that, please make sure to like the video, like the stream, like the channel, wherever it is you're watching. We are streaming live on all of the channels because, like I said, we're back at we're here at home base, at the Wolf Den of Alpha Cybersecurity, and we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Uh, geez, I think, yeah, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn. So we're all over the place today. Um, so go ahead, and wherever you're watching, go ahead and give us a like. Again, it's not mandatory, but it is greatly appreciated if you could, so we can get that algorithm jumping, especially as we're gonna jump in to more of as we jump in more into the AppSec rabbit hole. So, again, thank you all for tuning in. Wherever you're tuning in, let me know in the chat where you're watching this. Like I said, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Trovo, LinkedIn. And I think that's it for now. I don't do Kick, I don't do Rumble. I don't do any of those other platforms. So let me know in the comments where you're streaming from. Gonna try to do a little some troubleshooting on the spot here, but while we're doing that, let's go ahead and get started. So, like I said, I think I got overly excited and jumped the gun a little bit because I wanted to do Linux, right? So I said we were doing Linux fundamentals, but I forgot that we were supposed to do how the web works. So, what I'm thinking is we may, since I've already gone ahead and said that this is what we were doing today, and I don't want to go back and fix the. I don't want to go back and have to fix everything. I think I'm gonna go and there we go. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just stick with it. We're gonna run with it. We'll probably do Linux, and I think it would just make sense to then jump into the Windows fundamentals and then go into how the web works. So it's no big deal. Um, like I said, I got overly excited. Wanted to jump into Linux, especially seeing that we are here in the Wolf Den as opposed to um, Alpha Esports and Technology. And the reason why I'm happy about you being here, even though, I wish I could be, open today, obviously, working with the kids and stuff like that. If I decide to hop on a VM, I have all that here. We can kind of go through that process quickly here. I doubt we'll jump into creating a Linux VM, but just in case, if we do, then we will we'll get it popping. All right. So again, let me know in the chat what you're doing, how your weekend went, what you're working on, what your goals are for this week, and where you're watching from. You don't have to tell me, your location and all that, because we don't want to give up any PII or personally identifiable information. But yeah, let's just get the chat going. All right. So Linux fundamentals. And again, if you want to follow, I'll put the link in the chat for that. Linux Fundamentals Part 1. It's a room in Try Hackney. So I'll put that here in the chat. Why won't, it's weird. I'm noticing something here. So I'm, again, streaming on Restream today. Yeah, we're streaming on Restream, but it's not letting me. I want to see something real quick. No, I don't want to set that up like that. I'm trying to throw some stuff here in the chat, but it's, like I said, it's not letting me do that for some reason. It's weird. That's the private chat. Cause I think maybe because I set this up as an event versus the regular. But if that's a problem, then what we'll do is, since we are streaming on those channels, I will just put the link here. That is hilarious that I am Nightbot is not, I don't know, Nightbot is acting weird today. Okay, so I don't know. Hold on, let's go over here and let's go into the chat. Yeah, I don't know what the issue is. Let's go, here, we'll go from here. Put it in here. On YouTube. Let's see how that goes. All right. So we did that. Apparently I timed myself out. This is crazy. All right, so we'll put it over here. There we go. You have to let it go. Stop posting. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Nightbot, man. I don't know what the issue is, but here, let's see. I'm gonna add myself as a regular. I don't know why it's acting so weird. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and just kind of get this moving. So, um so we will hide our overlay. What is going on? You know, it's like jumping back and forth between the different maybe because I have, like I said, I have a different setup at the center versus here, even though, you know, this is where it's all started. It's kind of giving me a hard time, but that's all right. We'll work through it. All right. So, let's go ahead and make sure you can see what we are sharing. So we'll go here. All right, cool. So Linux fundamentals. Um, see, we can bring myself up a little bit. And then let's position me over here. No, not, no, I don't want to do that. Let's position me over here. Okay, that works, right? Can y'all see that? Let me know if y'all can see that. Yeah, y'all can. Cool. All right, so learning Linux. It's a 31-minute video. Again, if you want to watch the video, you can go ahead and go into click the link to join the room. We put it in the chat. Tryhackme.com/room/Linux Fundamentals Part 1. Linux Fundamentals Part 1 is all one word. But in here, we're going to cover you know, the basics of Linux. So it starts off with saying, welcome to the first part of the Linux Fundamental Room series. You're most likely using a Windows or Mac machine. Both are different in visual design, and how they operate. Just like Windows, iOS, and Mac OS, Linux is just another operating system and one of the most popular in the world, powering smart cars, Android devices, supercomputers, home appliances, enterprise servers, and more. We'll be covering some of the history behind Linux, and then eventually you'll start your journey of becoming a Linux wizard. You'll have to run your very first commands in an interactive Linux machine, teaching you some essential commands, and then demonstrate how you can search for files and introduce shell operators. So, like they mentioned, Linux is used a lot in your smart cars, your Android phones, your home appliances. In fact, your if you're an Apple user or a Mac user, that kind of has like a Linux kernel, so to, as well. So hold on one second, y'all. All right. So um So it says, where is Linux used? It's fair to say that Linux is a lot more intimidating to approach than operating systems such as Windows. Both variants have their own advantages and disadvantages. For example, Linux is considerably much more lightweight, and you'd be surprised to know that there's a good chance you've used Linux in some form or form or another every day. Linux powers such things as the websites you visit, cars, your car entertainment control panels, your point of sale systems, and your critical infrastructure such as your traffic light controllers and industrial sensors. The term Linux is actually an umbrella term for multiple operating systems that are based on Unix, which is another operating system. Thanks to Linux being open source, variants of Linux come in all shapes and sizes, also known as flavors, suited best for what the system's being used for. For example, Ubuntu and Debian are some of the most commonplace distributions of Linux because it's so extensible. So you can run Ubuntu as a server, such as websites, web applications, or as a fully fledged desktop. For this series, we're going to be using Ubuntu. Okay, so Debian is a Linux flavor, right? So they have different flavors of Linux. When we get into hacking distributions and stuff like that, Kali Linux is a Debian, is based on Debian. Ubuntu based on Debian. And what I like about both of those is that, Kali is already configured and equipped to do a lot of penetration testing, but Ubuntu is more lightweight. It's more of, think of it as more of like a regular user operating system or flavor. However, it does have the option to add tools as you need it. So for example, since Kali Linux comes with like 600 tools, you may not, you may, it's a bigger operating system. However, let's say I'm testing a web application or an API. I'll usually create a Linux, I'll usually create an Ubuntu image and then just add the tools that I need. So I'll add like, Postman and Burp Suite and Nmap and a couple other tools that I need there. So, I don't have to worry about installing all the bells and whistles that I would for Kali. All right, so if you're following so far, just let me know. If you have any questions, you can also leave that in the chat. Okay. So no, Ubuntu server can run on systems with only 512 megabytes of RAM. So again, Ubuntu is very lightweight. As a matter of fact, a couple of my servers at the center are running on Ubuntu, right? So I have a LAN cache server, which allows me to install all of my updates and things that I need for my gaming systems and my PCs all on this server. And then when I need to update it, my computers, rather than going out to the internet and having to go to Epic and BattleNet and Xbox and whatever, PlayStation or whatever, it just goes to the LAN cache server and pulls the updates locally, making the updates move a lot faster. We'll be doing some videos on that later. Well, actually, I've already done the videos. I just need to kind of edit them and get them ready. But that's running on an Ubuntu server that I actually have like a mini PC running. So again, very lightweight, but it's also very powerful. Okay. Similar to how you have different versions of Windows like 7 and 8 and 10 or 10 and 11 now, there are many versions and distributions of Linux. So it goes into when was Linux founded, or when was Linux was the first release of Linux. You don't see it here, but you can Google it or you can get the information somewhere else. But the answer to that question is 1991. All right. So now in browser, we're going to start our own machine. So again, we're going to go ahead and start the machine. It's going to take a little bit, but when it does, you'll get this area over here populated, and then it'll give us the information of our IP address, the target IP address, and how much time we have. So right now it says we have 2 hours, which is more than enough time to get through this exercise. So we're starting the machine, and like I said, it's going to allow us to interact with our own virtual Linux machine. So again, we don't have to create a a virtual box just yet. But like I said, when we get to the lab and the hacking side of things, we may just do it just because, again, it's good for you to have your own hacking distribution or lab that you can practice when needed outside of here. So if you look here, the other thing about Linux and the reason why I think people look at Linux like it's so intimidating is because a lot of the stuff that you do with Linux is going to be through their command terminal or command prompt if you're familiar with Windows. So here it actually looks like we SSH'd into a Linux machine. So we're on the back, we're on the back end of the Linux box, and it's going to allow us to type in commands here. So, when dealing with Linux, again, it can be very lightweight. So sometimes there is no graphical user interface or GUI. There is no, it's not as, I would say, flashy like a Windows machine or even a Mac per se. But again, that's what makes it lightweight. So let's see here. So we've deployed the box. So the box is just here. We're not going to jump ahead just yet, but the next exercise says, as we previously discussed, a large selling point of using operating systems such as Ubuntu is how lightweight they can be. This, of course, doesn't come without its disadvantages, where, for example, often there is no GUI, like I just mentioned, no graphical user interface, or what is known as a desktop environment, right? So again, when you have a Windows machine, you have that desktop, you can click your icons, you can, click your files. And like I said, there is some element to that. And when we get to building our own VM environment, you'll see that. But Linux is, for especially in cybersecurity, you want to make sure you know how to navigate the terminal in Linux. As a matter of fact, when we get into doing some of the other things, like, with playing haiku and stuff like that, we're going to do some of the GUI parts just because you need to do it to progress in the game. But we're honestly just going to, we're going to stick to the command prompt. And if you're going to train with me and you're going to go through this training with me, and when we actually when we start our cybersecurity cohort program in the spring, I'm going to push for you to do the command terminal. Just because, if we're gonna focus on real world application, then we're gonna focus on how we do it in the real world. All right, so the terminal is text based, and like I said, it's intimidating at first. However, if we break down the commands after some time, you'll quickly become familiar with the terminal. So it says here's what the terminal looks like, and then you just enter your commands in this area, right? So please subscribe. Not subscribe, subscribe, right? Please subscribe. Let's just put that there, but we'll just go ahead and clean that out. All right, so if we wanted to echo, which is basically getting it to output whatever we type in, we're going to put in echo, and then actually we'll just, I know it says hello friend, but we're going to say echo, please. What is wrong with me? Subscribe, right? And now you see when you hit enter, it actually goes ahead and says please subscribe. Okay. For the sake of the exercise, it says hello friend, so we will put hello friend exclamation point. Actually, I said hello friends because I don't want to exclude anybody. Hello to all my friends. All right, so we see hello friends, and as you can see, the echo command basically echoes what we just put in. So now if we say who am I, this will let you know what user you're currently logged in as, right? So here you're logged in as the Try Hack Me user, right? So if you wanted to look at what user you were, you would just type in who am I. Um, a dead giveaway usually with Linux systems is if you see this $ here, you'll know that you're basically a regular user, as opposed to if you saw the pound or hashtag um, symbol where the $ is. That would mean you have root privileges. That means you have like admin level privileges. So in Linux, it's called root because that is the root of that. That's the root user, right? So that's like the admin level, domain admin or whatever for Windows. All right. So if we wanted to text the output, try hack me, what would our command be? We would do echo try hack me. What is the username? So we just did that, and the username is try hack me. All right. So now we're going to interact with the file system. So interacting with the file system. So just like in Windows, when you have when you go to when you I'm sorry. The reason why I just started laughing is because I sound like the video of that little boy. What? Just a second. I sounded like this, right? Real quick.
That you had you could you do you want you could do so you do you could you want ever had a dreams that you had you.
All right, I'm back. So, like I said, yeah, I felt that's what I felt like a second there. When dealing with your Windows or your Mac systems, right? You have your desktop. Again, you're using your graphical user interface. So you have your desktop, and you might have files or folders or shortcuts on your desktop that you can just double click and access, right? So your folders, you can just double click the folders and go in there and retrieve whatever files or pictures or media that you're looking for. Linux, you can do that again if you have an operating system that has a graphical user interface like an Ubuntu, but most of the time you're going to use the command line. Now, not saying you can't do that in Windows and Macs. Like as a matter of fact, we'll do that when we get to the Windows portion. But Linux, again, you're going to mainly use not the operating system. You're mainly going to use the command line. Okay, what's going on? Happy Monday. So just going through the rundown of the day. We said, let us know how your day is going. How was your weekend? What your goals are for the week, and wherever you're watching. I see you're watching from YouTube. And again, if you haven't done so, but I believe you have, but if you haven't done so, please go ahead and give us a like, follow, subscribe from wherever you're watching. All right, cool. So we jumped ahead a little bit. We were supposed to go into how the web works, but I wasn't paying attention, and I used the Linux fundamentals one. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do Linux, and then after we do Linux, we'll probably jump into Windows either later on this week or next week, and then we'll go back and do how the web works. All right, but if you have any questions, man, just go ahead and throw that up in the chat, and let's get it going. All right. So when we want to look at the full list of the folder that we're in, actually, if we want to know what folder we're in, we would type in, we would look at the print working directory command, or PWD. So it would tell us what folder we're in, right? So this is no different than if you were to go to your file explorer on Windows and it would say, okay, you're at desktop documents here. It's the same thing. So that's your working directory. So that's the PWD command for Linux. Okay. So now if you see, we just did the PWD and it says we are in the home directory and we're in the user try hack me's folder. So what if we wanted to list what folders or documents or whatever is in the location we're in? Well, we would type in the listing command, or ls, right? If you're doing this in Windows, I believe you can do it with ls, but I believe in Windows it's dir for directory information. But let's type in ls. So as you can see, we have an access log, and then we have 4 folders. So we have folder 1, folder 2, folder 1, folder 2, folder 3, folder 4. Learn how to talk, Davin. Okay. So now let's say we wanted, can we make this bigger? Because it looks like, just from what I'm seeing on here, it looks like it might be a little problematic. Let's scale this out a little bit more. All right, cool. Let me know if y'all are good, if you're having any problems. Again, because we're on Restream rather than OBS, you know, we're kind of limited to what we can and can't do. And since we're streaming on multiple channels, it may also cause the screen to look a little blurry from time to time. But if you have any questions or you can't see it, just let us know in the chat so we can correct that for you. So, or we can answer the question. So here we have an access log, and then we have 4 folders. So if we wanted to, let's start with the access log. If we wanted to read that log, we would type in the cat command, or CAT, and what that stands for is concatenate. So that's essentially just kind of viewing the contents of the file. In Linux, in Windows, I believe it is the type command? Hold on. Read command in Windows. Or is it read? Oh, no, hold on. It's not the read command. Is it file? I'm drawing a blank here. I want to say it's type. It is type. Yes. Okay. All right. See, I'm not completely lost. Just a little bit. But again, it's Monday and I'm a little sleep deprived, so that's okay. All right. So if you wanted to read a file in Windows, it would be the type command. In Linux, it is the cat command. So let's go ahead and cat this log. So we'll type in cat access. And then a trick in Linux is if you tap, thank you, is it Mishato, thank you. I said I was drawing a blank. Appreciate it. If this is your first time, go ahead. Appreciate you tuning in. All right, so a trick in Linux is you can do this tab autocomplete. So you see here, I hit access. If I do tab, because there's no other file that has access.log or anything like that. Appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully you're enjoying it, and when you're done enjoying it, you can like or follow or wherever it is you're watching. Like or subscribe or follow the channel. So right, so because we did cat and then we did the autocomplete, and there is nothing else that says access.log, we can go ahead and do the autocomplete, right? But let's say, actually, let's not jump ahead. So we'll do cat access.log, and then we'll hit enter. And here you can see it's given us a lot of log information. So this looks like this is like website information, and you can tell that by, you can see is there's a get command in HTTP 200, so that looks like it was a successful command. The agent, it looks like they were using Mozilla, so they were using something like Firefox, Apple WebKit, Chrome. Okay, so this looks like, these look like web logs. Okay, we'll get into that as we go down the rabbit hole a little bit more, but this is basically what happens when you type in cat. So you're just kind of reading this information, and you know you're going to get the information based on what's in the file. So if we want to clear the screen, we'll just type clear. In Windows, I think that would be CLS. But now let's go back and list the contents again. So we'll type ls, and now you can see the folders. So now let's say we wanted to cd into a folder, right? And now let's do that tab auto command. So now if you see, when we hit the tab auto command, it stops at folder. Why? Because there are 4 folders with the name folder, and then you have to tell it which folder you want to look at. And now if you try to force it, you'll see it'll say which, okay, CD folder, great. Do you want to do folder 1, folder 2, folder 3, or folder 4? So let's just go ahead and clear. And now let's jump into folder 1. So now you can see here, we moved into folder 1. So before we were in the home directory, so you didn't see anything here. But now that we moved into folder 1, you can see we hit slash. So if you look here, that basically means this was the home directory slash, and now we're in folder 1. So now if we go ahead and list whatever items are in here. Oh, I'm sorry, and I did cd, that's change directory. See, again, jumping ahead, I moved into the folder by typing the cd command. So cd stands for change directory. That in Windows, that would be chdir. So that's just saying, we saw the folder by when we listed the items, and now we wanted to move into that folder, and we did that with the cd command. Okay. So now let's go ahead and list the items that are in that folder, and we'll do that with the ls command. And as you can see, it came back with just the prompt again. So when you see that, that means it's empty. There's nothing in there. So that's like when you go into your Windows machine and you're using the graphical user interface or that GUI, and you open up a folder and the folder's empty. You don't see anything in there. That's basically what it's telling us. Nothing in here. Okay. So now when we need to back out of the folder, we can do a couple things. We can just type in cd, and that will bring us all the way back to the home directory like that. Or let's say, let's just imagine we were in like multiple folders, and we just want to go back one folder. We would type in cd and then go space and then ... And what we're telling it is we just want to go back one directory, right? So now we type that. Thank you. It's a little slow. So then we would type that, and now we're back to where we're back in the previous directory. So let's learn how to spell. Learn how to spell. And learn how to stop fat fingering. All right, so we'll go ahead and clear that. So now we'll do this again. We'll type in ls. And again, we saw the access log, and now we were just in folder 1. So now let's go ahead and cd for change directory into folder 2. We're going to tab for the autocomplete, and we're going to then type in 2 to tell it that's the folder we want to jump into. And now again, we're going to list the contents with ls. Nothing in there again. So now we will go back to the home directory. We'll type in ls again. Now we want to go into folder 3, and you don't have to ls every time. If you have photogenic memory and you can remember it, that's fine. I'm just doing that for the sake of the lesson. So now we'll jump into folder 3, and now we'll hit ls again. Nothing in folder 3. So now again, let's just go back up one directory, which we're already there. But then we'll go cd folder 4, and we hit ls, and now you can see there's actually a file in folder 4 called note.txt. Now, if we, so just like the access log, if we need to review the contents of that file, we'll just hit cat for concatenate, and we'll just do note, and then we hit the tab for auto completion. And as you can see here, the note said hello world. So those are probably three of the commands you're going to use the most when using Linux. Let's go ahead and back out. And obviously pwd to know what directory you're in. That's another one. But these are the ones you're going to be using the most. You're going to be, especially when you're working on a penetration test, and let you get into a Linux system. When you're reviewing that information, or you get into a server and it's a Linux system, you're going to be using that, right? Actually, when you even a Windows system, let's say you get into a Windows system, Windows actually allows you to do some Linux commands, especially in PowerShell. So you can actually type in those commands and it'll translate it to the Windows equivalent in PowerShell. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and do we still need this, or will this make this wider again? So we went ahead and, like I said, we used the ls commands to grab everything in the screenshot above. So important files, my document. So we did that. We changed the directory with cd. Hey, appreciate it, Delta Kilo. Hope you are enjoying it. Please go ahead and like, follow, subscribe wherever it is you're watching. Let me know how your week is going. I know it's just Monday, and you probably were off today. Hopefully you were one of the lucky ones. I wasn't. But go ahead and let me know how your day was. Let me know what your goals are for the week, and just let me know how you're doing. All right. So changing the directory, we did that with cd. If we want to output the contents of the file, we concatenated it with the cat command. And then lastly, we used the pwd to find out where we were in the system or print that working directory. Okay, so we answered all the questions there. Okay, so now if we need to search for a file. So when we need to search for a file, it says, although it doesn't seem like it so far, one of the redeeming features of Linux is really how efficient you can be with it. With that said, you can only be as efficient as you are familiar with it, of course. As you interact with operating systems such as Ubuntu over time, essential commands like those we've already covered will start to become muscle memory. And it's true. Once you start learning how to navigate Linux, honestly, I prefer to do anything that is cybersecurity related on a Linux machine. I will, still check my email and stuff like that on a Windows machine. I will do stuff like that. I'll do most of my browsing on there. Social media, if I'm on social media, I'm on there. And that's because, again, it's what we grew up on, what we're accustomed to, but also a lot of the applications that we use are built for Windows. Now, you can install some of those on Linux, but it can be a hassle at times, right? So, for example, again, we're a gaming center. We have Steam machines. It's easier to install Steam on Windows than it is Linux. Right now, I did talk about my LAN cache server. That is a Linux. That's a Linux box. My Minecraft server is Windows, but I probably will also do it in Linux just because I want to know how to do it. But, so again, just different things. So I use it for different things. But anything that is mainly cybersecurity related, I'm usually on a Linux machine, right? I'm usually on a Linux box. If I'm penetration testing, I'm on Kali Linux. If I'm web app testing, I'm on Kali or Ubuntu with it. If I'm digital forensics, things like that's a lot of that is all on Linux boxes. Actually, I take it back. I do use Windows. I do use some stuff on Windows for digital forensics, but like I said, most of it. So 95% of the things I do in cybersecurity, I'm doing on Linux. And again, it's just you get used to it. To me, it allows me. I navigate through it quicker. Um, when we get into the pen testing side of things and like we get into a system, you'll see as I'm in there, I'm like, okay, boom, 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 like it's muscle memory. It's like anything else you do, right? We're my gamers, right? If you prefer keyboard and mouse over controller, after a while it becomes second nature to you. Me, on the other hand, I'm a little bit older. My wrist, I broke my wrist in an accident years ago, so I don't do keyboard and mouse too much. But I digress. All right, so one fantastic way to show how efficient you can be with systems like this is using a set of commands to quickly search for files across the entire system that our user has access to. No need to consistently use CD or ls to find out what is where. Instead, we can use commands such as find to automate things for us. So find is, let's say when you go to you go into your C drive for Windows and it asks you, do you want to search your PC? And then you just type in that search bar, you type in the file, and it'll look for everything that is associated with what you typed in. It's very similar. The find command is very similar. Okay, so the find command is fantastic in the sense that it can be used very simply, or rather complex, depending on what it is you want to do exactly. However, let's stick to the fundamentals first. To take the snippet below, we can see a list of directories available to us. So again, we just type in ls. You have your folders, right? Again, it's a little different on TryHackMe than what we see here, but here you see there's desktop documents, pictures, and folder 1. Whereas here we have folder 1, folder 2, folder 3, folder 4. So we're probably going to twist some things around a little bit here. So now, of course, directories can contain even more directories within themselves. It becomes a headache when we're having to look through every single one just to try and look for specific files. We can use find to just do this for us. Let's start simple and assume we already know the name of the file we're looking for, but can't remember what it is exactly. In this case, we're looking for passwords.txt. If we remember the file name, we can simply use find-name passwords.txt, where the command will look through every folder in our current directory for that specific file, like so. So you type find-name passwords.txt, and it's going to tell you where it's looking, where to look for it, right? The other thing you can do is, let's say you're not sure what the name of the file was, but you know the file type. You can do what is known as a wildcard. So you do that asterisk, right? So Shift 8, or if you have the keypad on your keyboard, you can just type in that the star or the asterisk, and then just say search for all the text folders. Okay, so we're actually going to do that here in our system. So since we don't have passwords.txt, but let's just see, right? So if we wanted to do that, we would do find-name, and then we're looking for passwords.txt. As you can see, it came back blank, which means it didn't find anything for that, right? But we do know there's a file called note, right? So we'll just type in that. Oh, I'm sorry. Another shortcut, right? So just like how we did the tab for auto completion, if you hit the up key, it'll go back to the last command you typed. So what I did there before, I did find name passwords.txt. It came back blank. So I then just type up, and then I changed it for passwords. I changed it to note, not note.txt, right? And now it said, oh, note.txt, that's in folder 4. So folder 4 note.txt. So if I needed to go there, I can just go, okay, cool. Go take me to, or actually, I'll show you something. I'll show you something else. I want to read it from that directory. Now, if I were to do cat note.txt, it's going to tell me that there's no such file or directory. And that's because we are in the home directory and the note.txt is in the folder directory, folder 4. So if, let's say, rather than navigate using the cd command to navigate to folder and then run the cat command to do that, I can just say cat and then go folder 4 note.txt. And now what I just told it was, okay, read the file and it's located in folder 4. So I didn't have to navigate down to the folder and then read it. I just said read it and here's the location of it. Okay. So that's that. Again, these are little things that you gain over time with Linux. All right, so we'll just go ahead and clear that. Now, let's say again we didn't remember that it was called note.txt, but we did remember that it was a txt file. What we would do then is we would say find, and then we want to do just dash name because we want to look for the name of the folder, and then we say star.txt. So basically what we're saying is find us any text file. I don't care what the name is. Find us any text name. Find us all the text files on the PC. And if we type that again, it'll tell us folder note.txt. Okay, so that's the wildcard option. Okay, now another thing you can do is use the grep command. Now grep allows you to search the contents of files for specific values. So remember that access log we were looking at before, and what's going on, Ty? Remember that access file we were looking at before, and it looked messy, right? Let's just go ahead and check it out again. So we cat access.log, right? And when we hit enter, it takes a second to load, but it looks like this, right? And here, to the naked eye, it's like, what is happening? There's a lot going on. I'm easily overwhelmed. Too many characters, too many things going on. Get me out of here. Right? So, oops. Oh, it's in caps. That's the other thing about Linux. See how I typed in clear in all caps? It doesn't recognize that. You have to type in the command as it's supposed to be. All right. So now let's say, like I said, it was overwhelming, but now let's say that file, that access log, that is used, that can be used by SOC analysts, that can be used by digital forensics and incident response professionals, that can be used by pen testers. And again, you're looking at that information to gather more information, right? Let's say for that access log, you're looking to see if a specific IP address that may have been associated with a malicious attacker. So you know the IP address, but you need to make sure that they to see whether or not they access your system. You can read that and you can try to sift through all of that. Good luck. Or you can use what is known as the grep command. Grep allows you to basically search for specific information within a document. And grep, you can get really granular. I don't think we're going to do that right now, but let's just go ahead and look at a couple things, right? So first, according to the training doc here, it says if we wanted to see the word count or the number of entries in this file, we would type in the WC command for word count, and then we would say -L access.log. And as you can see, even though the training says 244, our access log actually has 302 entries. Okay. So again, imagine having to go through 302 lines of that log to look for a specific information. Okay. And time is of the essence, right? Let's say you are being actively attacked. Let's say there's an active incident going on and you need to figure out what the IP address is so you can go and um block it, right? You can add firewall rules, you can make changes to your systems to block that information. You can add it to your access and deny list. You can, whatever it is you need to do, right? So time is of the essence, especially when you're in the middle of an incident. So you need to hurry up and get it out of there, but in order to do it, you need to first make sure you have that information, right? So now let's see how we would do that. What we would do in that situation is we would grep, and then we would type in parentheses because we wanted to look for a specific portion, and then we're going to type in this IP address, right? And now we're going to tell it to access.log. So what we're saying now is, hey, look specifically for this IP address in this entire document, in this entire log. Okay. And let us know how many times it comes back. Right. Show us how many times it comes back. So we'll go ahead and we'll hit enter. And it actually doesn't come back at all because it looks like the file is a little different from when this course was created. So we're going to improvise a little bit because that's what we do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cat the access log. And let's say we want to look for, I'm going to move this over here. Okay. Okay. So this IP address comes up a lot. So what is that? 318.18.132, right? So let's say we want to do, now remember, what did I say? We hit the up button to go back. And again, I could have just typed it out, but again, for the sake of what we were talking about, so we're going to go 3.18.18.132, right? That was IP address. So now when we grep that, as you can see, it's going to come back with every single entry in that log document that had that IP address. So every time it said 3.18.18.132 from that command, and you see it highlights it in red. Okay, so now let's look for, remember what I was saying before? I said, oh, this looks like some web stuff, and then here's some different codes. So 404 usually means not found. So that's like when you try to access a web application or a website and either it's down or the website doesn't exist. Maybe you put in the wrong URL or whatever, right? But then 200 means it was successful. So let's go ahead and grep. We're going to clear, not Clara. We're going to go ahead and clear the screen because I don't like a lot of stuff on my screen. And we're going to tab up and we're going to go. It is really slow. All right, so now we want to look for all successful entries. right? So we want to look for anything that has the code 200, which means it was a successful attempt. So now we type in that, and now again, it's going to bring up everything that has a code 200. Okay. Um, so we have stuff from the like Advent of Cyber 2020. So these are just old logs, old log information, right? Let's look for something else. Okay, I see something interesting. Okay, here's another IP address 66.249.66.208. So 66.249.66.208. So we said 66.249.66.248. Dot. Did I type that? Was that wrong? Oh, 208, not 248. Okay, so now let's clear it just so you can see it a little better. So, and now you can see again in that whole thing of 300 and whatever it was lines, we needed to find this one thing here, and it looks like they were trying to get access to the robots.txt file they were running. So it was a get command to google.com or to do Google bot, and they were trying to get this robot.txt file. So they were trying to get information about what can be what can be looked at or what can be scraped or spidered on the web application. So, but like I said, imagine we had to go through that entire access log for this IP address that shows up one time. So that's how grep is powerful. And again, you can really get down to like real granular access with grep. Okay. So it says use grep on access log to find the flag that has the prefix of THM. What is the flag? So just doing the same thing that we did here. What's going on, Thumbstick? Happy Monday. Let me know how your weekend was, what you're working on this week, what goals you got going on. Let us know in the chat. All right. Like I said, we're doing Linux, even though I think we like I said, we accidentally jumped ahead. So again, we need to find the THM flag in the access log. Right now, we can cat the access log and try to sift through all of that. And you saw what it looked like before. Just in case you're just getting here, we can do this and go access log and just kind of scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. And we can be here all night, which I don't want to be. Like I said, I'm tired and I'm going to get to bed early tonight. So we can, if you want to do it, hey, no, I'm not judging. You can do it. So be it. Or what we can do is, again, I'm just going to type up here. It says we need to find the prefix of THM. So we're going to say THM. And there it is right there. 13, 127, 130, 212 is one web entry. And it looks like they were trying to get the flag called Get THM Access in the English language. It came back with a 404 status code, which means the server wasn't found. But we answered our question. Okay. And we didn't have to go through 300 lines of access logs to get it. All right, so does anybody have any questions for me so far? Looks like we got quite a few people checking us out today on stream. Shout out to all of you who are watching. Looks like we got folks on everywhere. We got a couple folks on Twitch, got a couple folks on our Alpha Cybersecurity YouTube channel. We got a couple folks on our Alpha Esports and Technology channel. And again, LinkedIn isn't giving me, the LinkedIn doesn't play well with Restream, so it doesn't give us the stats, but it does look like we have a few people on LinkedIn. So thank you to everyone who was watching. Again, we are in a different location. If you are familiar with me previous to Alpha Esports and Technology, this space should look a little familiar to you. I'll give you a hint. Get used to it, because it may start looking familiar to you again. Wink, wink. But that is because we are in the Wolf Den, which is the home of Alpha Cybersecurity. All right, so now let's go into the next task of shell operators. So let's see, just to double check. Remember when we launched our machine before? We had it didn't have this information before, but now we have an IP address, the target IP address of 10.10.168.35. We started out with 2 hours. Looks like we've been on for about 47 minutes. So we have another hour and 13 minutes left before this machine shuts down. But like I said, we should get through part one fairly quickly. We only have 2 more sections. So shell operators. Again, when you're going to be using Linux, you're going to need to get used to the command line, or the terminal as it's called in Linux. Learn the terminal, learn to love the terminal. The terminal is your friend. Like I said, we can get really granular. Like what you just saw, what we did there with grep, that is just the beginning. When we start doing some scripts and things like that with the pen testing stuff, we can break down specific lines, we can cut certain parts, we can look for specific delimiters. Like there's a whole bunch of things you can do that can just make the process so much easier, especially when you're trying to automate a lot of it, right? So you don't want to have to go through every single thing all the time. You might have a script that you can create of everyday tasks that you do, right? So if you sift through logs every day, you can actually create a script, which just like any program, you can automate most of that stuff, and then you can just tell it to run. Excuse me. So again, get to know the Linux terminal, get to know the commands, get to know the operators. So Thumbstick says, update from my end. I set out to be in some form of original animation this year, and I found out today that I've been. Hey. Yes, is that what you did? Is that when you said you last week when you were talking about you auditioned? Is that what you auditioned for last week? And we said we're putting it in the universe. Linux is an incredible tool, regardless of your profession. No, absolutely. I said anything cybersecurity related, I'm using Linux. But bump all that, man. Is that when we said we were putting it in the universe? Let's see if this still works. Yep, still works. All right, so then if that is the case, we need to do, all my gamers, y'all should know this one. Run that. Hey, congratulations, Thumbstick. Congratulations, man. I appreciate it. Okay, hey, look. Okay, you were auditioning for different roles. Hey, well, look, get them all. All right, let's go ahead and let's unlock that. All right, so that's gonna be We're gonna get that for all the roles, right? How many roles did you say you got? Those auditions haven't been announced yet, but maybe I got them and I haven't found out. Hey, look, so like I said, we putting that out there in the universe. All right, we're gonna put that in the universe. Get them all, right? All right, man. Like I said, congratulations, man. Like I said, keep striving for greatness. Keep going, man. Happy for you. Happy for you. Definitely, man. Look, we gotta we gotta support, man. Look, support all our dreams and endeavors, man. So like I said, congratulations. All right, one more time though. Man, I forgot how crazy this this setup is here. I gotta get this over at the center. All right, so shell operators. So Linux operators are a fantastic way to power up your knowledge with working with Linux. There are a few important operators that are worth noting. We'll cover the basics and break them down. So symbols and operators. Okay, so you have the and then you have the and, right? So the and operator allows you to run commands in the background of your terminal. The and operator allows you to combine multiple commands in one line of your terminal. Okay. So the and allows you, so if you need to run something, but you don't want it to have to, sometimes it displays all the information and you don't want to read all of that, you can type the and command and it'll just run all of it in the background and give you the output when it's ready. But if you, let's say you want to combine things, you would type in and. So it's important to remember the two. Okay. So just kind of using our what we have so far, right? So remember, we have our access log and then we have our folders, right? Let's say, remember I said before, if we just wanted to cat the read the information that was in folder 4, right? So we do that and then we type in note.txt, right? But let's say for some reason we wanted to change that directory and then go in and then read it. So what we would do is we would type in cd for change directory, folder 4, right? Space, and space, cat, note.txt. And then so then you see we combine them. I was literally talking this morning with my wife about how we plant these seeds for success and we start to get anxious because we don't see immediate results. Man, hey, what's going on, Max? Welcome to the Appsec Rabbit Hole. Man, okay, so look, enough pep talk though. Linux for the win. Actually, you know what? That's a bar though. That's a bar because so many times, and look, we about to let's see, where is it? Right? So many times we look for that microwave success, right? And let me get on screen real quick here. So oftentimes, like I said, we get on here and it's like, man, I want to do XYZ. And I want it now, right? It's like that commercial. It's my money and I want it now, right? We live in a time of instant gratification. And as much as you try not to, it's hard, man. It is so hard to navigate and see what your peers are doing or see what other folks are doing. And I'm offended that I know where all these sound effects come from. Hey man, look, good. It means you're cultured. Hey Max, if wherever you're watching, man, go ahead and give us a follow. I think you're probably on LinkedIn, but yeah. So many times we deal with things and it's like, man, I why isn't it happening as fast, right? I use the center for example. I've been at it now. It's really going on 3 years, but I'm actually on year 2 of the center being open. Um, and you see these other organizations, right? And shout outs to them. I'm not hating on any of them. But you see the XP leagues. You see, I mean, not the contenders so much in Georgia, but you see contender esports. Like you see, North Carolina got a bunch of different programs, and you see these people, and you see like the crowds that they're pulling. You see the support that they're getting from the community, right? I'll break it down even more. You're here in Georgia, and you see everything that's happening in Atlanta and how the mayor's office and everybody is embracing everything down there. And I'm up here in my little neck of the woods, and I can't get I don't get the same support, right? Um it gets frustrating, it gets discouraging, especially when life gets in the way, right? And real quick, I just wanted to show y'all something. Shout out to my boy Brooks, my boy Mike Brooks. He actually made this hat a while back. It's called Make America Think Again. So just in case you see the hat and y'all like but anyway, shout out to him. um but it does get discouraging at times when you see that and you see what other people are doing, and you're like, man, what am I doing wrong, right? I'm just gonna get a little personal on my end, right? Like 2023 was a rough year. Then it ended with me getting laid off, and then 2024 I was laid off for a lot of it. I did a lot of contract work, but it's damn sure it wasn't the money that I used to make. And I'm gonna be honest, I probably could have found a job in cybersecurity a lot sooner, but I took that as an opportunity to really get Alpha Esports and Technology off the ground. But like I said, it was slow. It was slow. And I mean, it's slow now, but it's better than what it was. So, you gotta take the wins. You gotta roll with the punches sometimes, and you just gotta be patient. Um, but yeah, man, like I said, so what I've told myself is if I have energy to be anxious about the lack of results, I have energy to practice and improve my craft. No, facts. That's a bar. That's a bar. That's a bar. Where are you? Listen. Right? That's a bar. Like I focused on, okay, what do I need to do? Right? All right, cool. I'm a hacker at heart, right? So a hacker doesn't necessarily mean everything I do on a computer. I always look at different ways to circumvent things. So when Gwinnett County public school system wasn't letting me into the esports stuff, I said, all right, cool. I'm gonna find programs where we can run our own esports leagues. Um, when I was like, well, who do they use? All right, cool. I'm gonna go actually partner with them, and now I'm partnered with them anyway. So now they have no choice but to know who I am. But that being said, because of that, um I was able to coach my first championship team last semester. So if had I waited for the powers that be at Gwinnett County to be like, okay, cool, you can join us, which they never did, by the way, I wouldn't have had that program. And we were like, no, screw it. We found this program. It allowed them to play. Not only did they play kids in Georgia, but they played kids all over the country. They played kids in Virginia and Texas and Ohio, right? And so now they have friends from all over. It also opened up an opportunity to have this almost like this foreign exchange program that we're launching. So again, you have to just kind of deal with the things, right? You have to deal with it. I look at others in the hacking game and feel behind the curve. I wonder at times if I'm smart. Again, you have to roll with the punches, man. Look, we're doing this Appsec thing, right? Partially because it's something that I want to do and I've been talking about for the last 2 years, but also there might be things that I'm forgetting, right? I just earlier in the stream, I could not remember the Windows command for that was the equivalent of Linux's cat command. You're gonna forget things, you're not gonna know everything. Again, we're human, man. We're human. We just gotta roll with the punches and take what we know and deal and continue to improve. All right, off my soapbox, but we'll just do one more. Listen. All right. Cool. So with that, let's see where we are now. Why am I not? Oh, let's come back here. All right. So, hey Max, man. Also, if you're still here, I left you a comment on your post about the Assetto Corsa thing. Mine, for one, I need to get a better sim racing setup, like the steering wheel. Like I'm using I forgot the name of it, the PXN, but I probably should shell up a few more bucks. But man, you let me know if that's a mod or something, because that yours looks way better than my setup. And I'm not even just talking about the rig. I'm just talking about just the gameplay. Like I need to get on that. So yeah, shoot me a comment. Let me know if it's a mod. Okay. All right, so we talked about the and about running the program, running commands in the background, and then we did the and where we combined the two. Okay, so now we have the greater than, which is a redirector, which means we can take output from a command, such as using cat to output a file and direct it elsewhere, right? So, and then you have the greater than, which it does the same function, but it appends the output rather than replacing. Okay, so let's do this real quick. Let's back up into our main directory, right? And we're gonna clear it, and now we're gonna cat a file. And I'm probably jumping ahead, but actually, what we're gonna do is we're going to echo. We're gonna echo a file called a document called please subscribe into a file called sub.txt. Okay, so what we did was we said, hey, now if you look, normally when we did echo please subscribe, we'll hit the up button real quick. Normally when we did the please subscribe, it echoed, right? So someone will always be better than you, which is why you shouldn't run off comparison. Comparison kills creativity. Focus on you. Facts. Right? So look, we did please subscribe when we just do the echo, but when we said echo and then redirect it into this file called sub.txt, you don't see it here, but what it did was it created a file called sub.txt. And now when we cat sub.txt, you see it says please subscribe. Now, let's say we do this, right? So now we'll say please subscribe and hack the planet. Right? So now when we say please subscribe and hack the planet to sub.txt, we hit enter, it echoed. Now let's cat sub.txt. Please subscribe and hack the planet. Now, people usually do this sometimes and they go, oh crap, or oh bleep, whatever. Oh, hey. Oh, we found one that didn't work, y'all. Okay. But right, so now let's say, oh crap, I wanted to do please subscribe, and then I wanted to say please subscribe and hack the planet. I wanted both of those there. But because you only did the one redirector, it overwrote what you put before, right? So now let's just go back to echo please subscribe to sub.txt. Now let's go ahead and read it. Look, boom, it says please subscribe again. So now we want to say please subscribe and hack the planet, but instead of one, we're gonna do the double redirector, and now it's gone. And now when we cat that file, you see both of them, right? And just in case, we'll just cat. So now you see please subscribe and hack the planet. So it created both of them. Okay. So when we did the one redirector or the one greater than symbol, it writes and rewrites. But when you do the double redirector, it appends. So it adds onto rather than replace. Okay. So this is also important because sometimes you might be working on something and you need to make notes, right? So let's say you have notes of, open porch or something that you're working on and you want it to append it, right? And again, you're not going to type all this in. You might be running a script. So that script might be saying everything that you do here append into that file. You want to make sure that you're using that double redirect. Otherwise, you're going to overwrite stuff and then you're going to be like, where the hell are all of my notes that I need for my vulnerability information? Okay. So here I think this is just going to kind of go through this again. So we said operator and then the and. So I think the only one we didn't do was the the original and, but I think that's if we have like a large file. So we don't need to really do this, but it'll run in the background, right? So the and is what when we just said when we did the CD and cat. So when we did CD, oh, come on. When we did CD folder for and cat note.txt. It is okay. Yeah, we gotta hurry up and get off of this because it's lagging really bad. But that's when we did the operator and right, and then the whole redirect was when we overwrote that first file. So let's actually do this. It's not going to let us because there's no file in the directory, but if we go ahead and CD back into here and we'll just clear the documents. Right. So remember the one redirect or the one greater than symbol will write it the first time, but anything you add to it, if you use that one redirect or that one greater symbol, it'll overwrite. Whereas if you do the double, it'll append. So it'll add to. Okay. So that is it for that. So we can actually go ahead and terminate this machine because my goodness, it was slow. But we are all done with Linux Fundamentals Part 1. So it says nice work on getting to this stage. We covered quite a bit. Hope this room hasn't been too daunting. Understanding why Linux is so commonplace. Okay, so again, Linux, it does seem intimidating at first, but it really isn't. Honestly, it is so much easier when you get used to it. You'll find yourself just kind of flying through it, looking through the files, searching for information. And again, it's just like everything we just talked about. It comes with time. You're not going to know every single Linux command. I don't know all the Linux commands, but as you progress and as you look at it and as you do your homework and your research, you will start learning more about that, about the Linux terminal and the Linux command line and what you can and can't do. Linux can be, like I said, Linux can be very, very powerful. So it just all depends on your knowledge and what you want to do with it. And honestly, a little bit of creativity. Okay. So with that, we are going to stop here because then the next thing would be Linux Fundamentals Part 2. and that's where we're going to get into SSH. That's where we're going to get into flags and switches. We're going to learn more about the file system. We're going to learn about the different permissions you can get in Linux, and then also the different directories. So we're going to get all into Google is your friend with Linux commands. Oh, absolutely, thumbstick. Like man, look, I'll probably throw some cheat sheets in here later on, whether it's this week. Honestly, I don't have I don't have the community center tomorrow. So I may do a little bit of Linux and then go back to Minecraft. Minecraft actually just had an update. So because it's an update, we get a fresh start. So we're gonna do a fresh Minecraft start. We're gonna do day one part two all right, or day one second try. Think thumbstick was rocking with me the last time with the Minecraft. Oh yeah, SSH. Listen, I SSH into everything. I can SSH into my servers from here. I SSH into my other Windows machines. Like, and again, this is where it's important to know the command prompt or the terminal, because you don't get access to that GUI in SSH, right? It's not like an RDP session or remote desktop protocol session that allows you to actually see the graphical user interface or see the desktop. So this is where it's important, right? Another example for like SSH. Yep, SSH the world. Another example is like when I have my where is it? I think it's upstairs because I'm revamping it, right? But my pen test when I have a pen test, I'm not go. Sometimes I don't go all the way on site. Sometimes I go on site. Sometimes I don't. But I have a bunch of different machines. I have a small mini laptop, or I have a Raspberry Pi that I actually can mail out to the client, right? Other folks use NUCs, right? I worked for a company that used to get the NUC computers and ship the NUCs out. And then what they do is they plug it into their network, and then that allows us to SSH into it or VPN into it. So, yeah, SSH is a very powerful tool, and it's secure. So, but yeah, like I said, we're gonna go into that. Honestly, I think after we do the Linux fundamentals, because I jumped ahead, we're gonna do Linux and stuff. No, I think it just makes sense because we're on Linux. I think we'll probably do a little bit of stop it, Mace Windy of hack. I'm not the Mace Windu of hacking, man. I told you, bro. I have like fallen off drastically in the last couple of years. Honestly, this program, this thing that we're doing right now will probably be also a big refresher for me as well. If I'm being honest. But I think we might do some over the wire. So yeah, so that's what we'll do before. So that's what we'll do. Then whenever we do the next Linux one, we will then go into creating a Linux box, because I am not doing over the wire using a try hack me Linux connection. So we'll probably go through the process of creating a Linux virtual machine, and then from there we will SSH into over the wire and do some of the over the wire challenges. And then we'll go back to Windows and do the Windows fundamentals, and then we'll do how the web works. I like that. I think that's what we're going to do, since over the wire was already one of the exercises that I have for the Appsec Rabbit Hole. So we're going to do Linux fundamentals 2, and then after we do Linux fundamentals 2, we're going to set up our Linux machine. And then once we get our Linux machine up and running, then we'll go into over the wire. I buy books on Linux for reference. My library is getting tight. And that's only the top shelf of that bookshelf. I have a bookshelf over here. I have look, books. I have books and notebooks piled here. You can't see the floor, but I got books on the floor because of for the curriculum that I'm creating for the cybersecurity stuff. So trust me, you are preaching to the choir, sir. This is all up here. This is all hacking and web app related and all application related. So I got from the art of cyber warfare to cyber jutsu. I got Linux basics for hackers, which we'll probably touch on since we're already doing Linux stuff. Then I have security testing with a Raspberry Pi, which is old, but it was one of the books I got. We have hands-on hacking, which is a really good book. The Gray Hat Hacking series. I have the 5th edition and the 6th edition. I have the old Metasploit book from the Pen Tester's Guide. I have the G-Pen book. I have privilege escalation techniques. I have web security for developers, even though I'm not a developer, but again, application security. The basics of web hacking, the web application hackers handbook, which is like the go-to book for if you want to know web app pen testing. But then I also have the mobile application hackers handbook because Appsec for the win. Hacking multi-factor authentication. I will I got 3 Tupperware full of books. Dude, trust me. Ty, one of these days we can do a book party. We can do a book club party. But yeah, hacking multi-factor authentication, which is a dope book. Actually, I'll tell you when we get into deeper down the rabbit hole, I'll get into how I hacked a crypto app because of multi-factor authentication. Actually, I think I already touched on that a while ago, but I'll tell the story again because that's one of my favorite hacks. Hacking APIs, which is a really good book. Shout out to Corey Ball. Bug Bounty Boot Camp, Real World Bug Bounty Hunting, and then there's AWS. So then I get into cloud, and then I get into wireless, and then I have investigating cryptocurrency. So and that's just the top row. The second shelf that you can't see is all languages. So there's Python. So there's Python Crash Course. There's Automate the Boring Stuff with Python. There's Learn Python 3 the Hard Way. Learn More Python 3 the Hard Way. Then I have the Python and Easy Steps series. Then I have a book called Go Hack Yourself, which is what I use for my cyber safety stuff. Black Hat Python, which talks about hacking scripts for Python. Black Hat Go. Go programming for dummies or in easy steps. I have Scratch because Scratch coding for my gamers. And then I still have oldies but goodies. I still have the Hacker Playbook 2 and 3. I have the Red Team Field Manual. So yeah, I mean, and these aren't just books that are just there because, because I like to spend money. These are books that I look at actively. That's why they're here as opposed to over there, because if I need to reference something, I can come back over here. And there's actually some books over there that I have, right? I have my operation handbook, my operator handbook. I have my open source intelligence book over there. I have my forensics books over there. So dude, it's like, again, it's a lot. It's a lot, right? So again, don't feel discouraged because there's a lot to learn and there's a lot to forget and there's a lot to relearn. So, yeah, but we are just under 2 hours. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night because it is 8 o'clock. And like I said, I am on like 3.5 hours of sleep and I had to write a newsletter for work. I had to do some other stuff for work. And then I had to go change a tire. And I didn't get to go to the center today. And I actually have some emails and some stuff I got to send out. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. I don't know if we're gonna do some more. We'll probably, I don't know. Maybe we'll do Linux fundamentals too. I'll probably do it a little earlier because because I definitely want to do Minecraft tomorrow. I want to play Minecraft. All right, y'all. But that is it for today. We conquered Linux fundamentals 1. Please go ahead, and if you liked hanging out with us today, please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you are watching on YouTube, click the bell for notifications so you can be notified when we go live. Also, if you want to join the Alpha Esports and Technology server, there is some stuff for cybersecurity, but that's mainly for our gaming stuff, our gaming clubs and stuff like that. Let me know, and I'll probably add that into the Nightbot, because me and Nightbot have to have a serious conversation about why it timed me out. So me and Nightbot are gonna have a talk when we go offline. But if you want to get access to that, let me know. But yeah, like I said, please, if you want to support the channel in any other way, you can do that by again, it's something as simple as liking the channel, subscribing to the channel, clicking the bell for notifications. If you want to support the stream any other way, you can do that with over here in the corner up here. You can click that QR code. I promise the QR code is not malicious in any way. You have my word. What it will do is it will bring you to buy me a coffee. I can probably use a coffee or 5 right now, but it'll go to buy me a coffee. You can also use this one here. You can click this code here and also go to buy me a coffee. It's as low as $5. If you want to do a super chat on the Alpha Cybersecurity channel, you can do that there. Again, these are just things that I am suggesting. I know times are tough for lots of people, so it is not mandatory, but it will be greatly appreciated. Honestly, if you could just go ahead, like, follow, subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell a friend, that would mean the world to me, so we can get that algorithm jumping. There are so many other things that we got coming up, so please go ahead and give us a follow. And I'm going to get up out of here and get me some food and get me some sleep. So y'all be safe. It is Monday. So we have started off the week strong with some education. So let's keep things going. And I will see you tomorrow. All right. Y'all be safe. Peace out. I'll let y'all later.